Byte of Truth. Local models, global rules, and the search for plumbers. The state of European tech.
Hello, and welcome back to Byte of Truth, the podcast where we cut through the Silicon Valley hype to look at what technology actually means for the rest of us. I'm your host, Sébastien. Today, I want to start with a question that might surprise you. What is the single biggest bottleneck to the artificial intelligence revolution right now? Is it a lack of data? Is it the cost of GPUs? No. According to a recent report, it is the lack of skilled tradespeople, specifically plumbers and electricians. That's right. The future of human-level intelligence depends on someone running a water pipe to a server farm. It's a fantastic metaphor for the gap between the software dreams and the hardware reality we are living in. This week, we are diving deep into the European tech landscape. We're going to talk about why running your own AI models locally isn't just a hobby for nerds anymore, but a strategic necessity for sovereignty. We'll look at a new privacy breakthrough that might actually satisfy the GDPR police, and we'll ask the uncomfortable question: if your AI is biased against your accent, is it actually intelligent? And finally, we'll look at Agentic Coding, a shift that might turn every software engineer into a manager of robotic juniors. It is a packed episode. Let's get into it.
The European champion and local AI.
Let's kick things off with the home team. For a long time, it felt like the AI conversation was entirely dominated by the US giants, OpenAI, Google, Meta. But if you look closely at the infrastructure being built in Europe, there is a quiet rebellion happening. I've been reading some fantastic technical guides recently from Machine Learning Mastery about how to fine-tune and even pre-train models like Llama 3 and Mistral on your own hardware. Now, for those who don't know, Mistral is the French startup that has quickly become the champion of European AI. They are open, they are fast, and they are distinctly not American. Here is why this matters. We are moving past the phase where you just call an API. You send your data to San Francisco, it gets processed, and it comes back. But for European companies, especially in fintech or health tech, that is a legal nightmare. You are dealing with data jurisdiction, the Cloud Act, and GDPR. The trend I am seeing, and one we need to pay attention to, is digital sovereignty. It is no longer enough to just use the tools. You need to own the stack. The ability to fine-tune a Mistral model on your own dataset, locally, without that data ever leaving your premises, changes the game. It democratizes power. It means a mid-sized bank in Berlin or a logistics firm in Rotterdam can build their own intelligence, tailored to their specific dialect and regulations, without paying a toll to the US West Coast every time they run a query. This is the European advantage. We have the rigorous regulation that forces us to be creative. We can't just be lazy and ship data overseas. We have to build it here. And as the guides show, the barrier to entry is dropping. You don't need a supercomputer anymore. You can pre-train on local consumer GPUs. That is a huge shift. So, the takeaway here: if you are a developer or a CTO in Europe, stop looking at the cloud API as your only option. The local revolution is here, and Mistral is leading the charge.
Privacy, bias, and regulation.
Now, let's talk about the rules of the road. Because Europe doesn't just build tech differently, we regulate it differently. This week, Google Research released details on VaultGemma. This is a fascinating development. It is being touted as one of the world's most capable differentially private large language models. Let me break that down. Differential privacy is basically a mathematical guarantee that the output of the model doesn't reveal whether any specific individual's data was used in the training set. Think of it like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But the haystack is constantly shuffled, so you can never be sure if the needle you found was real or just a hallucination of the search. Why is this important? Because GDPR requires data minimization. You can't just hoard data. Tools like VaultGemma allow companies to train powerful models without crossing that legal line of exposing user data. But while we are fixing privacy, we have another problem to solve: culture. Researchers at Berkeley AI Research released a paper titled Linguistic Bias in ChatGPT. The finding? Language models reinforce dialect discrimination. This hits close to home for our European audience. If you speak with an American accent, the model performs perfectly. But if you speak with an Irish accent, a Scottish dialect, or perhaps English is spoken in India or Singapore, the performance drops. The model is actually more likely to classify those dialects as toxic or ungrammatical, even when they are perfectly correct. Here is the provocative question I have for you. If the AI model is smarter than you, but it speaks with an American accent and discriminates against your dialect, is it really smarter, or is it just culturally arrogant? This is where the European AI Act and our ethical frameworks are so critical. We aren't just building for a monolithic global user base. We are building for a diverse continent with 24 official languages. We cannot let standard American English become the default for intelligence. Privacy and cultural bias, these aren't bugs in the system. They are the system, and fixing them is the European mandate.
The infrastructure reality check.
I teased this in the intro, but we have to talk about the pipes. Not the data pipes, the literal water pipes. The AI cloud startup RunPod just hit $120 million in annual recurring revenue. That is a staggering number for a company that, essentially, rents out GPUs. It shows a massive shift away from the big three, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, towards specialized, decentralized infrastructure. People want raw compute, and they want it without the baggage of the hyperscalers. But there's a catch, and it is a physical one. Wired magazine ran a story this week titled "The Real AI Talent War is for Plumbers and Electricians." And they are absolutely right. We are obsessed with the software Jules, Llama, Mistral, but we are ignoring the hardware constraints. Data centers are essentially massive factories that generate heat. To keep them cool, you need water. To run them, you need electricity. To install the cooling and the power, you need skilled tradespeople. I find it deeply ironic. We are building artificial general intelligence, a godlike digital mind, but we are held hostage by the availability of someone who knows how to solder a copper pipe. In Europe, this is even more acute. Our energy grids are tighter. Our real estate is more expensive. The software is eating the world narrative only works if the physical world can keep up. So, if you are looking for where the bottlenecks will be in 2025 and 2026, don't just look at the chip makers like NVIDIA. Look at the construction companies and the trade schools. The smartest money in tech right now might just be investing in vocational training.
The future of software development.
Finally, let's look at the people who actually write the code. There is a new buzzword floating around that you need to know: Agentic Coding. We have seen chat with your AI. Now we are moving to AI does the work. We are seeing tools like Google Jules, which represent a step change. It's not just an autocomplete. It's an agent. You give it a goal, say, refactor this authentication module, and it autonomously writes the code, tests it, writes tests for it, and then deploys it, looping back to fix its own errors. This leads to a scary but inevitable shift for the European software engineer. The role is changing from writer to reviewer. Think of it like this. In the past, you were a carpenter, cutting every piece of wood by hand. Now, you are the site supervisor checking the work of a robotic crew that never sleeps. This forces us to ask, are we witnessing the end of the noble engineer who crafts elegant code from scratch? I think the answer is yes, but I don't think it's bad. It raises the floor. The boring stuff disappears. The engineer's job becomes architectural. It becomes about intent and verification rather than syntax. For the European workforce, which is often more conservative and risk-averse regarding tech adoption, this is going to be a friction point. We need to upskill our workforce not to write better Python, but to be better critics of Python written by a machine. It is a transition from creation to curation, and it is happening faster than anyone expected. So, that is the state of play this week on Byte of Truth. We have a European champion in Mistral pushing for local sovereignty. We have the privacy walls being built higher with VaultGemma. We have a reality check that we need more plumbers to power our AI dreams. And we have a workforce shift towards agentic coding that redefines what it means to be a developer. It is a complex picture. The hype says AI is magical. The truth says AI is messy, physical, biased, and requires human oversight. But that is exactly why it is so interesting. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please share it with a colleague who needs a break from the hype. I am Sebastian, and I will see you next time. The true revolution isn't about machines thinking like humans. It's about humans learning to govern machines.